that with students. But we've got, last year I invited myself to the health expo and stood at the Western District Health stand and was the community connector and marketed as such and had lots of conversations. And off the back of that, they've actually had an unprecedented amount of applications for the grad nurse program, which Jess, who runs the program, who was there, she actually thinks a lot of that was off the back of having me there, which is great. And then obviously also these grad nurses I have been assisting. So there's 12 of them. And the big issue year in, year out, and usually what means they drop out is they can't get accommodation. So we've been able to offer everybody accommodation and they're all really happy, and hopefully nobody does drop out and they all start in January. And for me, I feel like these people they're the gold because they have chosen to move to Hamilton, even though the program is 12 months and there's the second year. I just hope that they have a positive enough experience that they stay permanently. So yeah, that's been an interesting and feels a lot more community connected program orientated than a lot of my internationals who I feel are transient. They're only here because they've got the job and then they are likely to move on, as opposed to actually making the move to a new community. So yes, that's probably enough for me.
So thanks. And I think that is, I know that BIM also attended expos for Greater Shepparton, and they were, would you say it was a similar sorts of experience, Bim?
Yeah, absolutely. We attended the careers expos, and I suppose a regional town like where you're from as well. Did you get a lot of people going, what, where are you from? I didn't realise you had that on offer. So were you educating them about the destination a lot as well? But yeah, really powerful attending the expos where you can. And we did similar with the local health in Shepparton GB Health. We piggybacked with their recruitment drive overseas, where we would actually hop in their webinar and present what it would look like for 10 minutes, what it would look like to relocate to Shepparton and the support we would have. And that was particularly around recruitment drives in England and Ireland. And that was really powerful as well.
Yeah.
Because it was scary, the thought of relocating. But when we were sitting on the other end, like mother hen saying everything's going to be okay and this is how we can help you relocate and settle. Yeah, the impact was really powerful.
Yeah, I would really encourage. Yeah, they're a good investment of your time for a return on investment. And yeah, I know, Carly, we've had question marks around the intention to stay of much of the very large amount of migration or newcomers from overseas that Carly and Kate in the Mid-Coast have been processing really for over 12 months because there was a lot of government money thrown at them. So that's coming to an end, I hear. It's good.
Yes, I think also our international recruitment is also, I think, slowing as well, is what I've been told. So it will be nice it is a completely different experience settling someone interstate or domestically than it is an international. There's lots, the things you focus on are so different. So I enjoy both, but it's nice. It'll be nice to do something a bit different.
Bim, did you have anything else you wanted to say? Yeah.
I was just going to say, don't be discouraged by the international recruitments either, because 3 or 4 years on, I still see in Shepparton the relocation, the doctors, the pharmacists that did relocate 2 or 3 years ago that have really embedded themselves in the community as well. So there's that sort of happy, it's not going to be the case for everyone, but the community connector was certainly a big part of that for them with their relocation.
And Gail, how are things in Bundaberg?
How are things in Bundaberg? Going okay, I think. We've pretty much did our first round for our steering group. So we had 8 expressions of interest come in. I'm just about to open up a round 2 because I think there's some people missing from that. We're scheduled to meet before the end of the month with those 8. So I've reached out to each of them. And yeah, we're all now going to come together for the first time to hear a bit about who they are and what their interests are and what this is all about. So then we can get to know each other a bit better and make sure that we're the right people to work together on this, and just see who else is missing. We had our first referral from the Wide Bay Health and Hospital Service come through for Community Connector. There have someone moving to the region, so that's exciting. That's a good progress. We haven't seen that before, so that's good. And I attended a Wide Bay Health and Hospital update, must have been last Monday, Tuesday, and got to talk about the project, what we're doing, where we're going. So that was a good opportunity to get the steering group in particular into that space. They hadn't, obviously not everyone in that room had heard about who we are and what we're trying to do. So that was good. I think the podcast that we did, Kath, has really created a sense of what's this about. So there's a lot more interest at a community stakeholder level. So that's just been a really great tool and vehicle to be able to tell people more about what we're trying to do. So that's definitely a big tick. So we've got some more kind of little snippets and cuts of that coming out in various channels. So we'll continue to monitor that. We've applied for some funding on our phase 2 of the community-centred solution. So if you remember earlier in the year, we were doing some stuff around establishing a more collaborative health system in Bundaberg. We've applied for some more funding there, which will help us, I think, get in front of the right people around that whole community approach and more of those stakeholders working together. We'll see where that lands. Hopefully there'll be some money there that we can, as an organisation ourselves, redivert until we get something for real for this. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. Looking forward to meeting the steering group and getting those first establishment phases into actions. Yeah.
So there's an example of that's about a year, and Gail's still getting her governance in place, and funding still is. I've been talking to the Western Downs in Queensland for quite some time, and they're just about ready to go after about 3.5 years, and they've given up on funding, but they're not going to do it that way. So you're going to go for member fees, a membership fee and a user fee on top of that. So is your hospital going to pay for you to do the client that's coming your way, or they just want you to do it?
It's part of the pilot that we had the agreement with PHN. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that happens, and I think it'll be a good lesson for us here to learn about all the things that you guys are talking about with the amount of work and what's involved, and also the resources and information that we actually need to have in our bank so that we can do this ongoing and regularly and client after client. We'll see.
So I just want to recap this, because so you all are just, cleanliness is operational and heading towards sustainability and a fee-for-service model and all of those things, and an expanded model beyond healthcare. New Zealand is not operational yet and is still working on governance and sustainability, as is Bundaberg. And Western District is very unusual. It's very operational, but it is funded, and its sole client is the public hospital. So it doesn't really have a governance model, and it doesn't really have a funding solution yet. But it's quite a successful program, so it's quite unusual. Yeah, so they got going before they should have. And I think we're now observing how difficult it is to go back and to do those collaborations. So I know it's frustrating. I know it feels like it takes forever, but community development does take And this is what it is at its heart. It just takes time so that you're not having to answer those questions while you're running. Once you start running, all those things, strategic plans, all those things, Glenn has spent quite some time last year working on all of those things too, to really know where your direction is and what's in, what's out, and what's important. I'm going to move on now to just give you a little bit of background about the surveys, and then I'm going to take you through the surveys, and then we're going to open it up for questions. So I just, how bad is that, Bim? Can you see anything?
Sorry. Yeah, no, that's fine, Kath.
All right, so just let me get to the bit that I wanted to show you. I'm sure you've all seen this before. You can see that okay, Bim? Yeah.
Yep. Is everyone else seeing that fine?
And I can't see, Bim, you're in my eyes for me.
Yeah,
so I just want to go back. I just want to go back to the sort of the fundamental research that underpins Attract Connect Stay and the Community Connector program, which is a strategy of the Attract Connect Stay framework. So this was a study, as you well know, my PhD study that looked at wanting to understand turnover of rural health professionals. And we've spoken at length about professional factors, but these personal factors are what the Community Connector program has been created to address. And we know that involves social connection and that the place meets people's future life aspirations. Time living in the town and life stage differs on the level of personal satisfaction. We know that newcomers need a lot of support to feel satisfied in this part of the framework. So I just want to revisit this one. Underpinning this research was I identified this process that happened over 12 months, both for adjusting to the job, but for newcomers adjusting to living in the place. It was this intense period in the first 3 months, a process of adapting in the next 9 months, and then most people had adapted both to the job and rural and the town, and then began this. Usually at this point, this is when turnover intention begins, where they begin to weigh it all up and will they stay. And as I say, that people are very focused in the first 12 months on professional, the job part, and that for those newcomers, they're willing to put up with some personal dissatisfaction. But after 12 months, the balance is more, if the job is good enough, then it really becomes about these personal factors. And what we're interested in these surveys is really looking at the personal satisfaction component. And so the first survey is really focused on settlement and the reasons for taking a position, concerns about moving. So what is it that we like to collect data about for your group of people? What is it that is concerning them? What settlement supports they've received? And then the efficiency and effectiveness of the program. So that we're actually asking questions about how often did they interact with you and did they get what they needed? And then we begin to ask this question about intention to stay. This is really the impact question for all of this data. We're interested in whether this program is having any influence on people's intention to stay. We do 2 more surveys, one at the 6-month mark and one at the 12-month mark. So this is in the adaptation phase. So we know that the first 3 months is really about settlement. And then people, once they've got these basic ones beginning to be addressed, they move on to social connections and continuing to deepen connections to local services and things. But usually housing, education, and to some extent partner employment is resolved by the 3-month mark. Again, we ask the same set of questions about efficiency and effectiveness and intention to stay. Why that's important? Well, I just want to share something else with you. Sorry. I'll find that in a minute, but so just where am I? Sorry, I have so many screens. Okay, so we're going to go through, let me come back. So stop sharing. Have I stopped sharing, Bim? Or you can, yeah.
No, you have.
So I'm going to go through each survey with you. But first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the surveys. So we have developed the survey as a Microsoft Forms survey. And you should be able to download it and tweak it for your site. You'll see there's lots of X's in it. So name your site, name your name, so that people may not know that it's the Community Connector program, but they will know you. So we're trying to, and there's also a Google Doc. So depending on what your what universe you live in, both of those, we went that way because they're free and they should be able to do what you need in the simplest way. As we said, you manage those surveys, they will collect data for you and you'll be able to get a report at any time. We can talk about in Q&A whether you batch these or you send them, because they're meant to be sent at the 3-month mark, the 6-month mark from arrival, and the 12-month mark. And your CRM should tag, has those dates all in them. Those fields are already there, so they should give you you should be able to set it up or be able to watch for a reminder that the survey needs to go out. It's important that the timing is right. That what I just pointed out, different things are happening for people at different points of time, and we don't like to ask people to go back and think 6 months prior, unless it is a 6-month survey, because their concerns change over time. But the most important one is their intention to stay at the 12-month mark. That's the survey that we're really looking for. And that would go on your infographic. And that was the one I was trying to show you. I had Carly's infographic, but I'll go and when I'm not talking, I'll go and have a look for it and show you how you'd be able to add that into this sort of general information around what the program's doing. So let's get going. Screens. Okay. How's that, Bim?
You've blocked out a few things, haven't you, Kath? It's meant to have the black.
What can you
hear
see?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of black lines through it. They're meant to be there, or I know you're moving it. Yep, no, it's all good now. It is quite small, Kath. How's everyone else feeling?
Let's see if I can change my view. Can people come off mute and tell us what you're saying?
I can see it fine on my end.
I'm really old. I can't see it. It's blurry.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Kath, when we were trialing this earlier on, and you actually decreased the size of the screen and it made it larger
I'm just
text.
going
That
to
might
come off 2 screens. I think that helped best. So just bear with me. This is that I said. Need to.
This is the worst part of, isn't it? Technology, presentations and sharing. So that's a lot larger now, Kath. That works better.
That's
beautiful.
Well done.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can't remember if this is MS Forms and Google. I'll give you a range, but they're all the same thing. So we've written a little. So this is the first survey, and you can change anything that you like, but we've written you a little blurb. But you're looking for these X's, so you'd not want those in. So you can download this and edit. How many years professional experience do you have? This is where we want to be able to identify roughly the life stage or career stage of someone, because their settlement needs may differ depending whether they're early career or mid-career or late career. We ask a question, why did you take a position in this region? Were they interested? Were they coming home? If they answer that, it'll just give you some data around, it should inform what they're actually asking for. Before you came to the region, what were yours or your partner's main concerns about relocating, if any? Finding suitable or affordable housing, finding suitable schools for my children, finding suitable childcare, my partner finding suitable work or education opportunities, making local social connections, none of the above or other. We've tested this in Shepparton with 2 evaluations we did, so we're pretty confident that covers everything, and it really relates to your CRM. Those sorts of fields are in your CRM. How did you find out about the community connector? And that's where you put your name. So sometimes we know that people are being picked up. Say for Carly, her employer, Western District Health Service, should be referring everyone to Carly. But that's not what's happening. We're interested in that. Are the referral patterns as we expected, or is there something else going on? And as we know, in many of the job descriptions now and job ads, the community connector is actually promoted as a reason for coming, that we have this program, and so they may have picked it up that way. This is about your efficiency and effectiveness. When did you first engage with the community connector? How regularly were you in contact with the community connector since they first made contact? And the types of connection, pre-arrival support, face-to-face meetings, etc. Sometimes you may not have met them face-to-face, or sometimes those things might be delayed. So we're interested in all of that. So we've asked above, so what are the types of things you were concerned about? And we would hope at this part that we've been given support for the things they were concerned about. And please select all that apply. And then we get this overall, how satisfied were you with the support that you and any other family members have received from the community connector? And thinking about the role of the community connector on a scale of whether it has any value. So, of course, we'd be wanting to see really high up here. So this one, they're not identifiable, these surveys, but both them and I think it's useful to be able to ask what are you expecting, so that you're beginning to see a list, even if you can't identify the person, of the types of things of support that people are needing. And we do say that you can't identify. So even if you know who answered this, you wouldn't go back and put that data in directly to that client in your CRM. What support? And at this point in time, I plan to work at so what support do you think? At this point in time, I plan to work at this organisation for 6 months. So we're interested in intention to stay. And has your intention to stay in the region been influenced by the support you receive from the community connector? And then just a general, is there anything else the community connector should or could be doing to better support new to area workers and family members with settling in? It's not rocket science, but that's your first 3 months one. And the next one, let me just come in here. So this is what I will be providing you at the end, is surveys. So this is the one done in Microsoft. Can everyone see that?
Yep. Yeah. Kath, just when you started sharing the last screen, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this as well, but your voice is a little bit, I don't know.
I've noticed it too. It just
yeah, it's like it's
faint and a little bit
more.
muffled.
All right, let me just, can you just hold on?
Change with the screen you were on?
Yeah, it did.
That's a little better already.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's not as clear as initial, but it's doable. So yeah, thank you.
No, hold on.
That. How's that? Is that much better?
That's good. That's great. Perfect.
Great. I've got new earphones and I'm still learning how to drive them too. So this is a 6-month survey. Again, we ask the same questions. Did you receive support? So we're asking for the period from 3 months, so month 4, 5, and 6. Did you receive any support? If no, you did not receive support, is there any support you would have liked to have received? So that's.
Are you opening up that document, that 6 months?
I can see it. You can't see it?
No, it still had the link there. Just it hadn't opened up.
Sorry.
Yep, perfect.
Great.
How many years professional experience did you receive support from the Community Connector in the last 3 months? If no, would you have wanted to receive any support and what was it? If yes, then it's just the standard, how regularly were you in contact with the Community Connector? Which of the following forms of support did you receive? And as we would expect, some of these to start dropping off and see more around social connections and connections to local businesses, etc. To what extent you do agree or disagree that the Community Connector has helped you settle into the region? Overall, how satisfied are you with the service? Thinking about the role of the Community Connector, same question. What support do you think you might need from the Community Connector in the next 6 months? And at this point in time, I plan to work at this organisation for 6. I'm going to have to do a little intro there. I'll go back in and do a little tweak. I think it needs a preamble. We drop into intention to stay. So we're asking this question about how long you intend to stay, and has your intention to stay been influenced by the program? And is there anything else? Again, not rocket science, but it's taken a while in the process to get these surveys in play. Sorry, this is the Google one. And let me just share. Okay. You can see that?
Yep, all good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, same. Yeah, no or yes. And what sort of supports, how often? So we'd be expecting to see less around the inputs, but more the evaluation of the Community Connector program's effectiveness, and then the intention to stay, and always that general one. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to come back to the big screen. Sorry. Great. So now we're going to just ask questions of what you want. I'm hoping that you'll get to play with this in the next month before we meet and we can revisit it. Doing a little pilot for those of you that are implementing. You'll need Pagan and Emma. I don't think you'll be using this, but you might need to speak to Margot how she might use it.
Kath, we can't see you at the moment. It might be just my end. No. Not that we have to, but just letting you know.
Just turn on the video would be good. There we are.
Excellent.
Yeah, we'd like you to, for those that are implementing, have a go at what that would look like and do it, and we'll help you set up your processes to get that going. But they're really quite simple and they automatically produce a report for you. So at any point in time, you should be able to have a report that will be saying at the 3-month mark, people were saying there's 6 months, 12 months. And when for your infographic, you're particularly interested in that 12-month data, what people are saying in terms of how long they intend to stay and how much of it was influenced by being in the Community Connector program. We know in Shepparton that 8 out of 10 said they intended to stay for longer than, I think it was 18 months. And 8 out of 10 of those connected it to having received this support. So again, it's only for newcomers. It's not for all workers. It's just for this group. And there would be other Attract, Connect, Stay surveys that we would do for organisations. This one's just for the Connector program. Some of the challenges is you're the initiator of a survey that's about you. And I think you just have to live with the discomfort with that. Yeah. That said, you'll see it. But more than anything, we see very positive things, not very rarely do we see anything that's negative.
Yeah, I think if I reflect on Shepparton too, it was all, there was a lot of positive, but there was also certain ones that came out of the woodwork that you were quite surprised with, because people's expectations of what the community connector is different. You'd see it in your own clients where some take every little inch of you and 100 emails later and the support you've needed them compared to someone else that might need as much support. So you will get that variance coming through your surveys, but they're not identifiable. So that's, yeah, I think with any sort of survey you do, you'll take the good and the bad, but I think you'll find it's really positive and really powerful, the information and how you can use it.
So you can use it as testimonials. So you would just have client, so you don't identify them, but enough to, they'll give you, there should be some juicy things in there that you can pick.
Yeah, and really great for marketing as well. You really could take some of that data to use to educate the rest of the community on, and other businesses, stakeholders, funding. Yeah, I think you'll find it really powerful and useful.
Bim, would you like to just, I want to look for this infographic that I've been talking about. So can you do just ask field questions if there is any?
Sure. Just reflecting on actually the surveys with the programs that are already using the CRM. When you do create a client in your CRM, the first date of arrival is the day that then will auto-generate you 3, 6 and 12 months, and they will be used as then reminders of sending those surveys out. And you'll have to work out some sort of, I don't think you'd want to send every single client out individually. You might be able to work it out within a week each side. Otherwise it's too taxing. And it's depending on how you're actually sending them out as well, and what program you might be using. Be something to think about, but we can help troubleshoot those processes with you as well. But yeah, did anyone have any particular questions about the surveys? Yes, Ms. Carly?
I just wanted to ask, I'd love to maybe do a bit of a deep dive into what the CRM can do and how to set up those reminders, and whether we can get like a batch reminder on a Friday of these are the 3 months, these are the 6 months. I don't know if it's possible, but that would be amazing, because I am a bit worried about how I'm going to manage it. I also think probably it would be helpful, and I know we've talked about this, is syncing the calendar. So it goes straight into your calendar. Maybe it is something like that, which I know is an additional cost, but yeah.
Currently the CRM has those tasks and reminders. Yeah, you don't want this to be taxing and too hard of a task. I think you need to work out what that system looks like. I used to have just a reminder every couple of weeks that 3 months, 6 months, 12 months was coming up. I need to probably ask Jacob about how you could,
because the tasks aren't automatically. It'd just be great if you plugged those dates in, that it would automatically be added to your tasks or something. So it's not having to go from your CRM to somewhere else to put the date. Yeah.
And I think that's an extra cost to get. I think that's an extra cost to get that to sync with your existing system, but it may well be worth the investment. It wasn't a huge cost. It was just additional. It was outside the training and basic CRM.
I do,
but it would automate all of that, and I think you could probably automate it the whole way through.
Yeah.
So I'll come back to you, Carly. I'll have a chat to Jacob.
And hence, Carly, I thought you might be a really good pilot because you've got a good range of clients over the 12 months, and that we could see and come back next month and go, we've done it like this with Carly, and this seems to be working. So if you've got the time, that's why I was suggesting that.
To get it right, because it could just make everyone's, if there was a way of doing it really within the CRM, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think the automation's not a problem so much while numbers are small, but as they grow, as they did in Shepparton to hundreds, there's no way you're going to be able to remember those. So you want
and I think having automation might be also an issue. You don't want calendar reminders going off every day at the same time, or each time there's a client or referrer that's due for a survey. So that there might be you might have to think about us creating another field or something in your own calendar to yeah, let's get our heads together and think how we could best do that. I think.
Yeah,
I'll have
I
a
think
chat with you, Carly.
Yeah, and I think we need to bring Jacob into it for how to automate it. I'd be interested in that. Is there anyone else who's interested in the automation of it? Yeah. Gail, are you? Yeah.
I feel like I just need to check in with Pagan about this because Pagan may not be making this connection. I'm not sure. The CRM that Kath and BM and Carly are referring to, it's different from Salesforce that we're using for the welcome experience.
Correct.
So
correct. You won't be using this CRM, but Margot will be.
Okay.
Yeah, so in
Okay.
regards to this survey, Pagan and I can have a discussion with Margot after this and just keep her in the loop with that and talk about how we could still potentially implement that with the work that we're doing with experience. But yeah, we'll need to have a chat with Margot about that.
Yeah, and how it sits with your contract around evaluation.
Yeah, because we have different reporting requirements as well.
Yeah, so it's quite flexible. You're very welcome to add extra questions in. Don't delete any because you'll find that, you won't get the data that you need or the data that we can share between us. But I'm sure if you want to ask other questions or change the preamble or whatever you think, absolutely. Any other questions?
Yes, I've got a question. I'm not sure if this is appropriate or not, but obviously we haven't got our program underway yet, but we've got access to people who have recently arrived, just a handful. And I'm wondering if there might be merit in us doing like a pre-implementation survey, and once we get into the rhythm of it, doing it. I believe there's more interest since the US elections. There's more interest in particularly obstetricians and gynecologists jumping ship. And I just wondered, is there any merit in doing that, or does that not give any value at all?
If you have people who are considering moving, it's well worth asking that first set of questions. What are your concerns? And what would you need support with, particularly for your side? That's a great kind of data. So they've made some reach out, and you'd probably want to ask a couple more questions around who's in your family unit. And then people don't tick childcare unless they've usually got children. But yeah, you'd probably want a couple more supplementary questions to give you, we've mostly got people in middle life stage, they're mostly with children, or they're all in their 50s and just a couple or single. So all of that is good information for you to structure your program and where you're most likely to have your,
So what would be a minimum sample size that you couldn't?
Well, this doesn't really... it's not really it's not a quantitative population-based survey. It's really an evaluation, and so it doesn't really matter. So as many as you've got, it's all data, it's all good around. So it'll help shape, is there demand for it? Have people got these needs? Those issues I know have come up in your side. Is that what's needed? So there's nothing better than asking potential newcomers whether they actually... what are their needs?
No, that's good. Thank you.
And just so we always, and the survey is being structured like that, it goes to the worker, but it talks about the family. Because they're one for us, they're one unit. So we get them to speak on behalf of their partners. It's probably not ideal, but depending on the partner. Or the worker.
Thank you. It's useful.
Others? Okay. So I'm going to send you this afternoon. I'm just going to do a few more tweaks on those surveys. A instruction guide to get into those surveys so you can download them and have a look at them yourselves. We'll send out, reach out if you are beginning to play with them and you want some support. Carly, we can come back and report next month what we did with Carly and what might be working. I think she has the most clients by far of any of you at the moment. Good one to
to practice on. So we were meant to talk about fee for service in the next meeting. So we've got one on the 10th of December. Can everyone attend on the 10th of December? It's right up to the edge of Christmas, but yeah, okay. I don't want to talk about fee for service. I'm currently working with Western Downs on a model for fee for service, and I want to actually work on that with them and present in February on fee for service. But what I would like us to do, Bim and I have spoken, but I forgot to mention this to her before. We're going to talk about marketing and get Peter and her and talk about the importance of marketing and all the steps in marketing. And I know that we bang on about this a lot, but I can't tell you how critical it is to the growth and sustainability of your programs. So I think we've been doing it in bits, and now we want to come back and finish the year with how to market and at which points what type of marketing you're doing. Is that a good enough description of what we're going to do, Em?
Yeah, I think so. I think we were reflecting on what I would have liked back in Shepparton and maybe having a template or something that's ready to go that you can plug in, and with some of those ideas and some of the things that we have done. So around the attract, connect and stay phases and how you could market the program and some ideas there. So we'll hopefully come to you with a template, and then we can talk through it. Everyone will have different marketing experience as well. So it'll be just relevant to whatever program and whatever your needs are and what support you need. But I think now it's a great time to present some sort of template or framework around a marketing plan for the Community Connector program. So that would be the plan.
And to sort of marketing, and Gail talking about how she was being able to leverage off this podcast that she and I did. I would also, if you are on LinkedIn, you can share that one, or I think it's called reply comment, say something about your own site and link. So these are the ways to begin to develop your audience. And we find that the more I'm talking about it, particularly when you're trying to build, that's quite useful. So that one's been getting quite a lot of traction and likes. And so there's plenty of things on the website as well that you can grab, and YouTubes and things. But there's just, if you're in LinkedIn, I would really encourage you to comment on it and share it, and then talk about your own site. You don't have a LinkedIn, do you have? You've just got your own, not?
Yeah, I had my own. I've actually taken it off because it is all about a career I no longer have. So it's a bit strange. Like if I started posting Community Connector, it wouldn't make any sense. So I actually just decided to delete the account and eventually start again. But I haven't done anything. And yeah, I'm not sure down here. I'm not sure how effective it would be LinkedIn here.
And a newsletter might be a better way to go. Yeah.
Whatever we all used to do 25 years ago is about what I think I should be doing. Sorry. It's a wonderful place.
Okay. So that's it from us. Any final comments? Yeah.
Kath, I've just got one question. One of the things that I'm finding quite difficult with the very, very busy lives of the trustees is helping them to focus on small bits of information. And one of the things I've hit on is the foundation for what we do is, I call it a plan on a page. So it's on one page, there's the rationale about what you're doing, the purpose and all the rest of it. And I just wanted a file or plan or something like that, just so that it's on one page. Here are the markets, here are the channels, or whatever it might be, just so that they've only got one thing to focus on and they're not flipping through a 10-page document and all that sort of stuff. Is that an option or not?
Yeah, that's the sort of thing the resources that we've been developing. I don't think anything's 10 pages, is it, Bim? They're all kind of one page.
We're trying to make it pretty sweet and simple. Yeah, I think that's good advice too for us to take on, to make something a little bit more user-friendly for sharing. But particularly around marketing, though, I think that would be more around your governance and sharing it with your committee and internally. Is that what you're talking about, Barb?
Yeah, just so
to share.
So that not to get into any operational detail, just so that they're aware that stuff is happening or that is going to happen, or this is the plan for it to happen, and so that they're able to stay in the helicopter, not get down into the ground, but know that it's taken care of, and they don't have to start sending down rope ladders so they can land.
And I think there's a difference between a marketing plan, which is an overarching sort of plan, and then you have your promotional plan, which is where that can often be numerous pages and quite detailed too. So it sounds like a bit of a marketing overarching template of something would be useful for you.
Would be very, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as mentioned, everyone's different in what their skill sets are and what their support they have in their committees. Some committees have really great marketing skills already and they're happy to help, and others need to do everything from scratch. So you just take what you can out of what we provide as well. But
I think the thing for me is that they're very diverse in their skills, so they don't all speak the same language. They've got a very high level of expertise in some things, but not across the board. So this just makes it easier for everybody to have something common to focus on.
Something that you'll see pretty soon on LinkedIn that Peter and I are going to publish is a kind of roadmap to Attract Connects Day and how it was developed over 12 years. And it's like a little chart that weaves along, and you can imagine a little car driving along it. And something like that, I think it goes with your strat plan, Barb, of where are we currently, and we're at this spot. We want to get over here, but there's all these other little, but you know, that we will get there. You're very much still at governance and what is it that you want to do? So what's the house look like? And you can't get moving. So I know I've had a couple of conversations when I was over there in April that were very detailed around, you know, what would the community connected be doing.
Yeah, that'll be great, because then nobody gets stuck down the cul-de-sacs and goes down the highway.
It's whether I can show you examples of it, but I don't think we can do it for you because
that's fine. Just even a concept.
It's unique too, but yeah, just watch out for that because it's pretty cute, and it's just, you know, how in a snapshot, where are we and where's the future look like? And I think for something you're at a different point, and it's a different concept, but same visuals help. But then you've got all your learners, and then some people actually like the 10-page document. You can never please everyone. So
yeah, I can relate to that really well, because I've used the same thing for the journey of an employee through an organisation, and that really engages people. So yeah, I think
just where you're currently at.
Okay.
Great. And one of the things we'll probably at the next meeting, as I said, we want to ask some questions about the format of these. Bem and I have question marks around Facebook and that group, and whether there's a better way to share resources and communicate. So if you could just think about that, where of course any constructive criticism is really welcome, but we're in the summer, we will, for next year, a whole new year we think the webinars we're not too unhappy with the webinars and the content, but we don't feel the Facebook's working so well, and we certainly don't think Two's working, but we don't have a lot of traction in it, and we're not too sure whether it's the medium, whether you're all a bit shy, whether you're all a bit busy. But I also think there should be an easier place for you to find resources. So I'll spend some time over the summer looking at that. So we'll talk about that a bit more next time. Have a good month. I can feel the Christmas madness just upon us. So we'll have that one in the Christmas madness. So good luck in all your places, and see you in a month.
Thank you. See you all.
Thanks.
See you in December.
Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah,
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.